This is lesson 1-3, chapter 1, lesson 3, and we're talking about order of operations with fractions, problem type 1. And I want to remind you that this is high school algebra 1 and that I want you to have a calculator at your fingertips. So I want to talk about order of operations and whether or not you need common denominators and that sort of thing, because it's very important and actually has some more complicated applications later on when we're doing variables and something called rational expressions. But I also don't want you to spend tons and tons of time with your number calculations. So I want you to have a calculator handy that you can calculate things. Let me show you how you would work through this problem. Remember that in order of operations, we want to do parentheses first, there are none, exponents second, there are none, and then we can do multiplication and division. Right here is our multiplication, so we're going to ignore this 5/6 for a minute and do the multiplication. When we multiply fractions, we multiply the top and we multiply the bottom. And so here we would get 1 times 7 is 7, 3 times 8 is 24, and now we have to do 5/6 minus 7/24. So we need a common denominator. Whenever I'm subtracting, I'm really talking about the number of pieces I have of something. And so unless the pieces are cut into the same size, I can't compare them. A common denominator for 6 and 24 is 24. And so we'll put 24 on the bottom for both of them. This one's nice because we can keep 7/24. Here we need to convert the 6 to 24. 6 times 4 is 24. So on the top we have to do 5 times 4 is 20. So now we have 20/24 minus 7/24. And so we will end up with 13/24 as a final answer. The second problem we have to work on doesn't have parentheses either. It doesn't have exponents either. So we can start with multiplication and division. Here is our division that we need to do. To divide fractions, we multiply by the reciprocal. So basically we change division into multiplication. So I am going to keep the first fraction the same, and reciprocal means I'm going to take the second fraction and turn it upside down. So 1/6 divided by 3/7 can also be written as 1/6 times 7/3. So now I'm just multiplying the tops and the bottoms exactly the way I did in the last problem. 7/9 plus 1 times 7 is 7, 6 times 3 is 18, and now I need to add two fractions and I need a common denominator. 9 and 18 both go into 18, so let's keep 18 as a denominator. This one stays the same, but I need to convert 9 to 18, so I'm going to times 2. If I times by 2 on the bottom, I have to times by 2 on the top, 14. So I have 14/18 plus 7/18 is 21/18. I think I see a common factor here. 3 goes into 21 7 times. 3 goes into 18 6 times, and this should be a final answer. Again, check yourself on the calculator. Don't feel guilty about that. Here we are evaluating a linear expression, integer multiplication with addition or subtraction. We're just plugging in numbers. There's a couple of things that I need you to look out for, and I'll see if we run into them when we work these problems. So c minus 2y, if c is -2, I'm going to plug in, I like to use parentheses around the number that I just plugged in, and I'll show you why if we run into the weird exponent thing. It's probably in the next problem. And y equals 5, so I'm plugging that in. So we can see that I have negative 2 minus 2 times 5 is 10, negative 2 minus 10 plus a negative. And you can lean on your calculator here too. Negative 12 is my final answer. If you want to do it in your head and then maybe test it in your calculator, great. Okay, here is exactly what I was looking for. So m is negative 4, and so I have m squared here. Let's put the negative 4 that we're plugging in parentheses, squared plus 5. Here's another m. I'm going to plug in that negative 4 plus 1. Okay, I want to talk to you about negative 4 squared. So if you plug this into your calculator, you will get this answer. Because the calculator thinks you are basically saying a negative times 4 times 4. Okay, you'll get not the answer you're looking for in this problem, and you'll get the problem wrong. If you plug this into your calculator, you will get this answer because it thinks you're asking for this, and a negative times a negative is a positive. So we need to watch how we enter those negatives and those exponents. So here we have 16. This is positive 16. This is like a number one, like serious. This is like number one mistake when we run into these problems. Plus, we do this 5 times negative 4, which is negative 20, plus 1, and now we're in good shape. Okay, 16 plus negative 20 is negative 4, plus 1. Have negative 3 as a final answer. Again, enter this whole big thing in your calculator, use those parentheses, and back yourself up. This is the end of part 1. Please find part 2.